I was working on something else, and so I put myself down on tape, and people seemed to like it, and then came in and met with Antoine, and then came in and met with Antoine and Denzel, and away we went. And for me, there were a number of ways, there's always a number of ways to play a role, but because it's a particular kind of role, I didn't want to go down the stereotypical path. And so the audition was, I think, quite important. I wanted to do it a certain way, and of course we built on it as we made the film, but it was, getting into the psychology of the man, and they liked what I did. And then it ended up, all happy and all that. I got the role and we worked together. That was good, because it doesn't always work like that. Sometimes it's good to do your own thing and send it in, because you know that that's what you want to do, rather than get caught up in the mechanics of a casting couch.
Originally, the part was written for a 24-year-old, so I was kind of, 10 steps behind everyone else. So I had to go in for a meeting first with Antoine, and I talked to him. I gave him my ideas on Alina or Terry, and I kind of just told him exactly what I think of her and how I would want to portray her and why I want to be a part of the project. And then I auditioned personally for him, and then I came back and I auditioned with Denzel. Just to kind of prove that they, because they would have to rewrite it a little bit for a 16-year-old. Then I booked it about a week later. So I just really fell in love with the script and fell in love with the character, and that's why I really wanted to fight for it.
Really, in Richard Wenk's script, Melissa Leo's character calls him a sociopath with a business card. So I hooked into that, and there's a lot of incredible books written about sociopaths. The Wisdom of Psychopaths, the Psychopath Test, Sociopath Next Door, Without Conscience, and they opened a world of ways of thinking, behaving that were very useful for me. And then, of course, in cinema, there's a history of great films. Peeping Tom, Silence of the Lambs is a very well-known one. Angst is one of my favorite. And then of course the imagination comes into play, and you mess with it, and the collaboration with Antoine Fuqua and of course Denzel Washington and Mauro Fiore's cinematography and hair and makeup and costume, and away we go. This was a very collaborative process, and it was very friendly. It's very easy and nurturing and supportive, and that's when you do your best work.
It was an amazing experience with Antoine and especially with Denzel, because being a young actor in the scheme of things, you never know how someone's gonna treat you when you walk in when you're working with someone like Denzel Washington, who's a complete legend. You know what I mean? He's been around longer than I've been alive in a sense, and he's got so much more time on me. And being the kind of young buck, it can be kind of scary walking into that situation, especially when you have a director and actor duo that know each other so well. So they immediately welcomed me into their little circle, and it was incredibly collaborative. Denzel kind of fathered me in a sense, and we would talk colleges and like different stuff of what I should major in, and he just, I don't know, he was an amazing guy to kind of look up to as a mentor.
Well, there's a dilemma there, because you want to do your best. You're plowing through everything, and you're going over in your head, and you're doing all the things that you do when you're preparing for a role. But Stanislavski is the sort of godfather of acting methodology, has suggested, when it starts messing with you to the point where you can't get it out of your head and you can't sleep at night, that's a very good time to hang the character up on the proverbial coat hanger and slam the door, because it's not good, and it's not healthy. And also the subconscious, you need time to by osmosis for those ideas to sink in, and they'll come out better on the day, but sometimes, if you're anything like me, you don't trust it. But you put in your work, and there's a time of ease and relaxation that you absolutely need for it to come into the fullness of being able to use.
I went to they have a place in downtown LA, Children of the Night, this amazing organization that saves girls who are being, put into the sex trafficking rings and stuff, and they can't get out. Saves them and puts them into the workforce and kind of educates them and allows them to kind of live a new life. And I met a lot of these girls, some of which were younger than me, 13, 14, 15 years old. And they taught me a lot about, about life in a sense, because, you never know what the atmosphere is going to be like when you meet people like that have been through so much. And I think the big thing I took away was that they were all incredibly happy. and they had this like spunkiness and this fire inside them that you couldn't take away, you couldn't extinguish it. And I found that so beautiful, and that's what, you know, Antoine really picked up on too, and that's what we really wanted to put into Alina. When you see that spark truly ignited and that fire kind of grows inside her with Robert's character, and we really wanted to show that, because that's what I really picked up from working with these girls, because they were all such beautiful young women who are just survivors, to be honest.